థమ్స్ అప్ తీసుకోనా? థమ్స్ అప్ తీసుకోనా? స్ప్రైట్. నిమ్మకాయ ఉందా?
మండే సబ్మిట్ చేయాలి.
సరే
లాగిన్ చేయండి. మండే కావాలి. ఇప్పుడు ఏంటో
సబ్మిట్ చేయదు.
హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ ఉంటుంది. హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ అయితే అది ఏమైంది? అది అయిపోయినాము. ఇస్తాను కనెక్ట్ అవుతుంది. అందులో కమల్ హాసన్.
Oh, don't call me this time. నాకు పిచ్చి లేచిపోతుంది కాలింగ్ చేస్తే ఎవరైనా.
ఇప్పుడు ఫుల్ హాఫే సరిపోయింది.
చేస్తున్నాడు ఈ బుచ్చిగాడు. आशीष भाई, वो एक लड़की का अर्जेंट वीडियो एक्सेस का वो नहीं दिखती है, फेक का वो बोली कैसा बड़े टेस्ट बात कर रही हो.
Guys, please check your audio and video settings, please. Guys, please check your audio and video settings, please. Yeah. Please, guys, don't unmute your mics. It is creating a lot of disturbance to others. Anyhow, I will disable that option of unmuting your mics. Tomorrow onward, that problem will not be there. Don't worry. Yes, guys. Any newcomers are there? Please ping yes in the chat box. Welcome, newcomers. Yeah, guys, don't worry. You will get the backup videos of last 3 sessions. Nothing serious completed. You can still continue in this batch and you will be getting the backup videos. So now let me give some basic information about this course. Yeah, this is my course intro document. Course intro document, guys. Tell me, what is the course? Spring Boot and microservices. Prerequisites: core Java, strong core Java knowledge is required. little bit of JDBC knowledge and Spring Core or Spring Basics knowledge is required. Spring Core or Spring Basics knowledge is required, guys. Is that clear? Okay. But listen carefully. I don't have Spring Basics or Spring Core module knowledge. What to do? Contact the admin. I will share the admin details in a moment. Okay. You can collect the Spring Core or Spring Basics videos and you can start watching them in next 10-15 days and you can happily continue in this course. Super boss. Right. Okay. What is the duration? 100 plus, guys, in single slot. Single slot means all topics will be covered in 7:30 p.m. slot itself. Okay, 55 to 65, 2 slots, guys. Slot 1, 7:30 p.m. After 20-25 sessions of slot 1, you can attend to slot 2 topics parallelly. That is going to be 5:30 p.m. That is going to be 5:30 p.m. Clear, boss? Yeah, weekly 6 to 7 sessions will be there. If I keep Sunday session, it will be in the morning session. It will be morning session, that too before 11 a.m. IST, boss. It's a completely online course. Timings 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Course fee 6K without recordings, 12K with recordings, guys. Full stack student can attend this course by paying discounted course fee. In your course curriculum, if Spring Boot microservice is there, you can continue in this batch. If not there, okay, you have to pay discounted fee, boss. And what is that fee? Admin will inform you. So now let me share the admin details, boss. Okay. Yeah, these are the backup videos, guys. Everyone, please collect the backup videos. Especially newcomers, please collect the backup videos. Especially newcomers. Yeah, recently I have given interview in one TV channel. You can watch that interview. It's a mix of Telugu and English. Please collect this video link also. And these are the faculty and admin details, boss. Your admin name is Arif and his phone number also I'm sharing. I'm sharing his phone number details also. To everyone, this one. Right. Okay, guys. So shall we get into today's discussion? Are we ready, boss? Are you ready? Okay. Let me confirm whether all people are active or not. So can you tell me what is 33 into 4? 33 multiplied by 4. 33 multiplied by 4. Mr. Kurle, can you be focused person? Mr. Vijay, 33 multiplied with 4. Yeah. Mohammed Shoaib, can you focus more? Okay. What is the addition of 79 plus 11? Amini madam, can you focus more? 79 plus 11. Yeah, majority people are active, but some people are giving. Samar Pratap Singh, you are wrong. Can you focus? Rajesh Kumari, can you focus? 79 plus 11. Sunil Kumar Patil, please be focused person. Please be a focused person. Right. So let's get into the subject, boss. Swarna madam, you contact the admin through his WhatsApp number. He will communicate with you. Super boss. Tell me, guys. So yesterday, what is the formula for Spring Boot, guys? According to yesterday's session, what is the basic formula for Spring Boot? Spring Boot is equal to, what is that, guys? Spring Boot is equal to yeah, tell me, guys. Spring Boot is equal to Spring minus, right? XML configurations plus auto configuration. What is the most important thing, guys? Auto configuration, right? Agree with me, boss. Yeah, XML configuration plus auto configuration, boss. Yeah, what do you mean by auto configuration, guys? Yeah, based on the jar file that are added to class path. Based on the jar file that are added to class path, many common operations will be taken automatically. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Super, guys. Based on the starters. What is that, guys? Based on the starters that are added to class path, lot of common activities will be taken automatically or not. What kind of common activities? Making Java classes as Spring Beans. That means Spring supplied container loads the class, creates the object, manages the object. Assigns one Spring Bean object with another Spring Bean object. That also happen automatically. Create some in-memory databases. Establish the connection with the database software. Based on the need, gives some servers as embedded servers. Right, boss? Gives some servers as the embedded servers. Is that clear, boys? So many common activities will be taken place automatically. Agree with me, guys? Yeah. Based on the starters that are added to class path, guys. Based on the starters, I'm using the new word. Starters means special jar files, guys. Special jar files that are added to class path. Class path. Multiple. The Spring Boot takes care of multiple common operations. Agree with me? Multiple common operations like making Java classes as Spring Beans. Making Java classes as Spring Beans. Injecting one Spring Bean with another Spring Bean, right? Another Spring Bean. Come on, guys. Okay, next. Establishing the connection with the database software. Providing embedded servers. Providing embedded servers, right, boss? And etc. operations. Agree with me, guys? So today I want to talk about these starters, boss. Can we start understanding what is Spring Boot starters, boss? So in your mind, whenever I use the word called starter, you keep one thing in mind, it's a special jar file. It is a special jar file. Clear, my dear? The special jar file is called starter, boss. Okay, more than jar file, special jar file. These are special and advanced dependencies. Listen, according to Maven terminology, according to Gradle terminology, which are called build tools, which will be used in application development to simplify the application development. Sir, already Eclipse is there now to develop the application development in simplified manner. Okay, Eclipse simplifies up to certain level. You want more simplification, then we have to take the support of build tools. What kind of build tools? Okay, Maven and Gradle. Understanding my statement? Maven and Gradle. Maven and Gradle are the build tools given to the developers, right? Given to the developers to simplify the application development process. By integrating with, come on guys, by integrating with IDEs like Eclipse. By integrating with IDEs like Eclipse. Are you getting my point there, guys? According to these build tools, jar files are called dependencies. Jar files are called dependencies. Is that clear, boss? These are special and advanced dependencies, nothing but jar files in Spring Boot programming, having capability to perform auto configuration activities. What is auto configuration? I just said, guys. Okay. The auto configuration activities are perform common things dynamically that are required in application development process. What kind of thing? Configuration of certain Java classes as Spring Beans. That means Spring will start managing those Java class objects, guys. Perform dependency injection among the Spring Bean. Assign one Spring Bean class object to another Spring Bean class object. Providing dependent and relevant jar files. Hey, they provide jar files also, boss. Providing embedded database software. Providing embedded servers. Supplies necessary plugin. Providing what? Providing necessary plugins required for Maven or Gradle tool. Are you understanding my statement, boss? Come on. Use database connectivity configurations. Certain Java classes means predefined classes that are there in starters. Suppose starter means jar file, guys. Jar will have lot of classes, na? Do you think it will make every class as Spring Bean? No. Only important classes that are required in application development process, that are useful directly or indirectly in application development process. You try to make only those classes as Spring Beans, na boss? Are you getting my point there, guys? Once again, see the list of things. Configuring certain Java classes as Spring Beans. That means IOC container loads the class, creates the object, manages the object, and destroys the object. IOC container is nothing but Spring supplied container, boss. Performing dependency injection among the Spring Beans, assigning one object with another object. For example, listen, if I give Flipkart and DTDC classes to Spring Programming or Spring Framework or Spring Boot Framework. Flipkart is a target class. DTDC is a dependent class. Why? Flipkart needs DTDC services for delivery of the products. DTDC is a courier service. Flipkart is a e-commerce application. Come on. Flipkart is a target class. DTDC is a dependent class. Come on, guys. Okay, if I give these two classes to Spring or Spring Boot Framework, loading both the classes, creating object for both the classes, assigning DTDC class object to Flipkart class object, managing both objects, using both objects, and destroying both objects will be taken care by whom, guys? Spring containers. Will be taken care by what? Spring containers. Okay. As part of auto configuration, it makes Java classes as Spring Beans, assigns one Spring Bean class object to another Spring Bean class object, gives a lot of jar files, providing embedded database software, provides the embedded servers, and gives the necessary plugins that are required to execute the application using Maven or Gradle tool, and gives a lot of things related to database configuration. And when these many things are happening automatically internally, burden on the programmer will be reduced or not? The burden on the programmer will be reduced or not? But all these things will happen based on what, guys? The starters we added. What do you mean by starters? Jar files. If we add starter as the main jar file, the dependent and relevant jars will come automatically. See the beauty, see the beauty. If we add the main jar file as the starter, the internally required dependent jar file, relevant jar file will come automatically. Is not interesting, Babu? That means you need not to arrange every jar file, boss. You just add main starter, nothing but jar file. The required dependent jar file, relevant jar file, everything will come automatically. Sir, what's the difference between dependent jar and relevant jar file? Okay, everyone please focus. Okay, I have a first jar. In that one, class A is there. Class A is using class B of second dot jar, class C of third dot jar. Can I say first, second dot jar and third dot jar are dependent jar file to first dot jar? Come on, guys. They are your family jars. They are family jars because interdependency is there among the classes of these jar files, guys. Among the classes of these jar files. Okay, now listen carefully. Okay, relevant jar means relevant jar file. There is no direct dependency with the first dot jar. There is no direct dependency with the second and third dot jar. Everyone listen carefully. But according to the project that you are developing, that jar necessity may be there. That jar utilization may be there. So that's why, okay, some 10th dot jar, ABC dot jar is also coming automatically. So that is called relevant jar file. What file, guys? Relevant jar file. Is it not interesting, Babu? Not only main and dependent jar files it will give. It will give related, which are required in application development, which may be used in application development, will come automatically. Listen, I will tell one real life example to understand this one perfectly. I'm giving relevant real life example. Please, I will give technical example. Lot of time I will spend. Don't get into panic. First, listen. Your friend came to your home and your friend said to you, "Arey, I am celebrating one function. You please come and join. Okay, you kept one problem in front of him. Arey, if on that day holiday, my entire family is waiting for me. 1-2 relatives also came. They are also waiting for me. So now look at the position of your friend, guys. Actually, you want to call you for the function, but since you have a dependency, you have a problem, he is forced to call your family members and your relatives also. Come on, guys. So your relatives are what? Relevant jars. Your family members are dependent jars. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Okay, guys. Now listen, I will give some. I will write some points here. Okay. What is the difference between? Okay. What is there? Dependent jar file and relevant jar file. It's not a rocket science. Just focus, you will get idea. A dependent jar file and relevant jar file. I'll explain diagrammatically now. Don't worry. Super. Let's get into diagrammatic representation. I'll give technical examples also. Don't break your head. Tell me here. This is my first dot jar. This is my second dot jar, third dot jar. This is my XYZ dot jar. This is my XYZ dot jar. Okay, let me save the document first. So what is this, guys? First dot jar. This is my second dot jar. This is my third dot jar. This is my, come on guys. This is my, okay, 1 minute. This is my Arkil dot jar, something. This is my Arkil dot jar. Okay, fine. Here A class is there, class A. Class A. Here is what? Class B. Here is what? Class C. Class C. Here, lots of classes. Lots of classes to talk, to connect to Arkil D. To connect to Arkil D. Understanding my statement? Super. Tell me, boss. To connect to Arkil D. If the class A of first dot jar are using class B, comma, class C of second dot jar and third dot jar files, then first dot jar is called, tell me guys, first dot jar is called main jar file. And second dot jar, comma, third dot jar files are called what jar files, guys? Dependent jar files. This part is clear now, boss? Dependent jar files. Super, guys. This part is clear. You and your family members. First dot jar is you, and second dot jar, third dot jar, your family members. Clear, boss? Now let's come to relevant jar files. Let's get into relevant jar file. Let us assume first dot jar. Okay, first dot jar is added to the class path. Added to the class path for database interaction, right, boss? Added to the added to class path for what base? Database interaction. So tell me guys, Spring Boot automatically gives Arkil.jar as the what is that? Relevant jar file by guessing. What is that, guys? By guessing that the programmer may show interest talking to Arkil database software. Talking to Arkil database software. Okay, guys. If not talked, it will be unused. It will be unused, boss. I hope you are understanding my statement. Convinced, boss? Relevant. You may use, you may not use, guys, but they will give it. You may use, you may not use, they will give it. Super, guys. Let's see some more points here. Okay, we'll go real scenarios also, don't worry. Embedded database software means the database software that comes along with the Spring Boot application execution. Okay, guys. B and C will not be there in relevant jar files, guys. Okay, different classes will be there. Embedded server software means the server software that comes along with the Spring Boot execution. Embedded database, when we run the application, got it? When you run the application, the database that is created on temporary basis during the execution of the application. Embedded, right? Database. Embedded server, when we run the application, the server that is created on temporary basis is called embedded server. These are also called in-memory databases, in-memory servers. Why, sir? Their lifetime is only during application execution. At the end of the application execution, they got killed. They are died. So that's why they are called as what? In-memory database software, in-memory servers. They are good in real production environment or only testing environment. They are not good in production environment or real utilization of the project. They are just good in development and testing environment. Right, boss? They are just good in development and testing environment. Agree with me, guys? Okay, now let's see. The syntax of Spring Boot starter is Spring Boot, Spring-boot starter star. This is the standard syntax, guys. Example, Spring Boot starter JDBC. This will take care of dependent and relevant jar files to talk with the database software by internally using JDBC. Are you getting my point there, guys? Spring Boot starter web. It will do lot of auto configure activities related to web application development, including giving embedded servers. Spring Boot starter batch. This will take care of lot of auto configuration activities related to batch processing. Processing 1 lakh records at a time, 2 lakh records at a time, this kind of batch processing, guys. Spring Boot starter security. Take care of lot of auto configuration activities related to applying security on the applications. Spring Boot starter JPA. Take care of lot of auto configure activities related to Hibernate programming. And a JPA is the specification, Hibernate is the implementation. So that's why lot of common activities related to Hibernate programming will be taken care by this starter. JPA means Java Persistence API. Total, how many starters are there, guys, like this? Like this, how many starters are there, guys? Nearly 1,000 plus starters are available. 1,000 plus starters are available. I just listed few, boss. I just listed few. I just listed few. I hope you got it, guys. Yes, boss. Tell me, boss. If Java application uses third-party APIs or libraries other than Java JW APIs, user-defined APIs, then that API-related both main and jar file must be added to class path. Main and dependent jar file should be added to class path. Okay, guys. Now listen, I'm preparing background one more time. Listen carefully. If the classes of first.jar is using classes of second.jar, then we can say first.jar is main jar file, second.jar is dependent jar file. Clear, boss? If classes of first.jar is using classes of second.jar, then we can say first.jar is main jar file, second.jar is dependent jar file. Clear, my dear? While working with the frameworks or third-party APIs or libraries, finding main jar files is easy, but identifying their dependent jar files and transitive dependent jar files of main jar files is very difficult. Sir, I understood what is dependent jar file. What do you mean by transitive dependent jar files? Array, dependents of dependents. See, first.jar classes are using second.jar. Second.jar classes are using third.jar. Third.jar classes are using fourth.jar. Now tell me, for first.jar, who is the dependent jar file? Second.jar. But third.jar and fourth.jar are what? Transitive dependencies. What is there, guys? Transitive dependencies. Agree with me, guys? Dependents of dependents. Transitive dependents, right, boss? The dependent jar files of dependents of dependents. Dependents of dependents. I hope you convinced it, boss. Sir, what happens if I don't add? What happens if I don't add? What happens? In your application, you will try to use classes of first.jar. That class try to use second.jar. Second.jar added, no problem. Third and fourth.jar is not added. Are classes of second.jar trying to use third.jar? Third.jar is there in the project? Not there. You will get exception or not? No class definition found, exception will come or not? No class definition found, exception will come or not? Super, guys. Tell me. First.jar classes. 1 minute. A.jar classes are using B.jar classes. Super. B.jar classes are using C.jar classes. C.jar classes are using D.jar classes. Right, boss? Okay. Note here. Tell me. B.jar file is called dependent jar file to A.jar file. This is my target. This is my target. Tell me, guys, target jar or main jar. Tell me, boss. Today's entire maximum class is on what? This jar file story only. Okay. Next. C.jar and D.jar files are called transitive, not relevant. Transitive dependents. Transitive dependent jar files. Jar files to A.jar. A.jar. Convinced, boss? Tell me, what is the relation between B and C? C.jar is dependent jar to B. D.jar is dependent jar to C. But when it comes to C.jar and D.jar, they are transitive dependents to A.jar. Okay, guys. Getting both direct and indirect dependent jar files of main jar file is called arranging transitive dependents. Is called arranging transitive dependents. Right now, boss? Super. Okay. Yeah, listen. Very, very important. Maven, Gradle, and etc. build tools simplify this job. If we add main jar file, okay, main jar file dependency or info to these tools, they automatically download both main jar files and direct and indirect dependent jar file. That means even transitive dependencies also will come. What comes, guys? Transitive dependents also will come. Transitive dependents also will come. Agree with me, boss? Got the clarity, my dear? I want reply. Transitive dependents also will come. Maven Gradle tool is simplifying our life. Sir, IDs are there to simplify our life. But this Maven Gradle are simplifying more and more. Swarna Savitri Kamisetti, Madam Savitri, Madam. If you add main jar file in Eclipse project, not enough. You should also arrange and add dependent jar file, transitive dependent jar files. But if you are using Maven Gradle kind of tools, if you give main jar file information to that tool, it will connect to internet. It will connect to internet places. It will download both main jar file, dependent jar file, transitive dependent jar files. Everything they will take care. That means burden on the programmer is drastically reduced or not? Burden on the programmer is drastically reduced or not? Super, guys. Tell me now. If we add Spring Boot starters info to application using Maven Gradle, not only we get both direct and indirect jar files, indirect dependent jar file, we also get relevant jar files. Come on. If we add Spring Boot starters to Maven Gradle projects, we will get main jar file, dependent jar file, transitive dependent jar file, and relevant jar files also will come. What will come, guys? Relevant jar files also will come. Are you understanding my statement, boss? If you add Spring Boot starters info to application using Maven Gradle, come on. Maven Gradle. Am I font is visible, guys? Not only we get both direct, indirect, dependent jar file, we also get relevant jar files. Are you understanding my statement? Indirect jar files, indirect dependent jar file mean transitive dependents. Transitive dependents are called indirect jar files, right? Okay, guys. Indirect dependent jar files means jar files are nothing but transitive dependent jar file, right, boss? Transitive dependent jar files. Some people does not like transitive other day. That's why I have used the word called indirect. Array, C dot jar and D dot jar, indirect dependent jar files to A dot jar na, boss. Come on. Okay, guys. Here, the Maven oblique Gradle tool, guys. Tool will give arranges. Tell me, guys. Arranges the given starter related. Come on. The given starter related main jar files. Dependent jar files. Come on. Okay. Dependent jar files. A dependent jar file. Transitive dependent jar files. And also what, guys? Transitive dependent jar file and also relevant jar files. What jar file, guys? Relevant jar files. That means one starter is going to give lot of jar files now, boss. Okay, now I am bringing into the picture. Now I am bringing into the picture. The real example I am bringing into picture. Please remember. If we add Spring Boot starter JDBC, what, guys? Spring Boot starter JDBC, boss. This is one starter. This is one starter I am planning to add, guys. Spring Boot starter JDBC to the project, then we get, right, boss? Spring Core jar file, Spring context support and their dependents. Spring JDBC jar file, Spring JDBC version.jar, transaction version.jar. Spring Boot jar file, main jar file. Hikari CP jar file, log4j, SL4a jar file. These are relevant jar files. These are relevant to jar files. Understanding? Jackson API jar files, relevant to jar files. Main and dependent jar files, including transitive dependents. Including transitive dependents, right? Transitive dependents, guys. Dependents. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Listen. This is the starter that I have added to project that is dealing with Maven or Gradle. Tell me, Spring Core module jar files are coming. Spring Context Support and their dependents. Spring JDBC jar file. Spring-JDBC jars transaction.jar. Their dependents. Spring Boot jar files. Main jar files, guys. Come on. Hikari CP for database connectivity, connection pooling. Okay. Log4j, SLF4j for log messages. Jackson API jar file for converting, what is that? For converting XML data to JSON, JSON data to XML, we have .jackson API. Listen, boss, these three jars, classes of these three jars is not having any dependence with other jars, but still they have come. Still they have come because they are relevant to jar file. On the, see, it is JDBC, na? There is a thought of connecting to database. So when connecting to database, we prefer using connection pool. On that safe side, they have given connection pool related jar file. Convinced, boss? You may use connection pool, you may not use connection pool. On safe side, they have given, na? Super. Next, you may use log messages, you may not use log messages. But on the benefit of doubt that you may use log messages, you may generate log messages. Log4j messages have come. Okay, on the benefit of doubt, he may think about converting XML data to Jackson, JSON data to XML. Jackson API related jars are coming now, boss. Come on, based on the setup, based on the environment. Okay, based on the starters that we have added, you will get main jar file, dependent jar file, transitive dependent jar file, and somewhat relevant jar files also will come. Relevant jar files also will come. Convinced, my dear? Suppose you are going for tour, boss. Definitely you will wear main important dresses and their dependent dresses, shirt, trouser, main dress, boss. Right? Inners, all these are dependent dresses, right, boss? Shoe socks, all these are dependent dresses, right, boss? You'll carry them. But on benefit of doubt, people will also carry what? Sweaters, right? Why? Who knows? Temperature may be low. You may use, you may not use. People will carry perfumes. People will carry perfumes, right? To smell fresh. You may use, you may not use, right, boss? Suppose you are in cold weather, guys. What is the need of perfume? Not required. And people will carry snacks. People will carry what? Snacks. Why? Array, you are in the package. Your stay is in luxury hotel. All 3 times they serve the food. But who knows? Who knows? Food, you may not like the food. If you don't like the food, take this food. Snacks item from home. Next one, some emergency medicine. Medicine for cough, medicine for what is that? Sneezing problems, medicine for body pains, medicine for what is that? Other issues, other medical issues, fever. It's not compulsory you will get it, but if comes, so they all those come under relevant material, na boss. All those things are comes under relevant materials. I hope you got the idea. What is relevance? Relevance. Why Hikari CP jar has come? This is related to database connectivity. When database connectivity is there, definitely you'll think about using connection pool. That's why Hikari CP jar. In every application, we generate log messages. That's why they have given. When you're doing these many things, there may be a need of dealing with JSON data. That's why Jackson API. So final conclusion is what, guys? Spring Boot starter gives. Spring Boot starter gives. Right now, tell me, boss. Main jar files, transitive dependent jar files, relevant jar file. Transitive means direct and indirect jar file. Direct and indirect dependent jar file. Indirect dependent jar files. I hope people saw when people talks about starters, you have something to speak. And the Spring Boot main feature is what? Auto configuration. This auto configuration is happening because of relevant jar file is not a dependent jar file to main jar file. Yes. Do you think relevant jar files are dependent jar file to main jar files? Is there any link between relevant jar files and main jar files? There is no link between. Do you think classes of main jar files are using classes of relevant jar files? No. Sometimes there is a possibility of totally ignoring relevant jar files in the entire project development, but still they will come on benefit of doubt, right? That is called relevance. Relevance. Relevant jar files are not dependent jar files of main jar files because the classes of main jar files do not use the classes of dependent jar files directly or indirectly. Directly or indirectly. Agree with me, my dear? Directly or indirectly. Convinced, my dear? Come on. Super. I think crystal clear. Yeah. Spring Boot starter says, yeah, Spring Boot starter itself main jar file. But see, single word will be there. But internally, lot of other main jar files will be there, na boss. Spring Boot starter itself main. But it will have, it itself has some main jar files. See? Because every starter is designed, listen, every starter is designed files directly or indirectly. Any mistake, guys? Any mistake here? Relevant. Because the class of main jar file don't use the classes of, oh, sorry, typo. This is typo. Relevant jar files. Let it be, boss. Are we good? Are we good about jar files? Are we good about starters? Starters do auto configuration. When we add starters, starters related main jars, dependent jars, transitive dependent jars, relevant jars. Relevant jars will come. We may use them in the project development. We may not use them in the project development. Sir, that's fine, sir. But how to collect these starters, boss? how to get these starters. So many starters are there. How to collect these starters and how to add to the project. We can collect this starters information as required for Maven, as required for Gradle from a website called mvnrepository.com. The people who already worked with what? Spring Core module, they are aware of all this stuff, right? So for example, you look at Spring Boot starter JDBC. Press enter. See, this is Spring Boot symbol, guys. This is Spring Boot symbol. Every starter will have this symbol, guys. Spring Boot starter JDBC. Select the version. Okay. Yeah, if it is Maven, some XML information is there. Listen, boss. In application development, we avoid XML in Spring Boot programming. Maven is still using XML. Yeah, this XML is nowhere related to Spring Boot. This XML is related to Maven. Spring Boot is completely eliminating XML, boss. Whatever XML I am highlighting here, this XML is related to Maven. No, sir, I don't want to use XML. Then don't use Maven as the build tool. Use the Gradle as the build tool. Gradle is having different syntax to mention the information. Gradle is having different syntax to mention the information. Array, nothing but every jar file in Maven or Gradle is identified with group ID, company name, artifact ID, jar file name, version of the jar file. Same information is given like this. Group ID, jar file name, version. Here group ID, jar file name, version. You don't believe, we never remember all this stuff. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Copy, paste. Are you understanding my statement? Come on, guys. This is comment, leave it. This is called scope. Implementation is scope. Group means company name. Name means name of the jar file. Starter name. Version of the jar file. No rocket science. Here also same thing. Group ID, company name. Artifact ID means jar file name. Version means version. In Maven or Gradle, every starter or jar is identified with 3 details. If you mention starter information, not only starter jar will download, this starter related main jar file, dependent jar file, transitive jar file, relevant jar files will be down. Relevant jar files will be down. Convinced, boss? Convinced, boss? Okay, listen. Only to feel I am doing this work, guys. No, don't worry about, don't feel it is a practical. How to create project, everything I will teach later. Everything I will teach later, boss. Okay. I will create an empty project first. I will create an empty project first. Don't worry what I am doing here. Okay, 1 minute. Some test project, guys. Don't worry about this. I will officially launch later. I'll officially launch this one later, right? Say next, say finish. Say next, say finish. Some test project is created here, right? Some test project is created here. So many jars have come. So many jars have come, guys. Okay, leave it. I go to pom.xml. No, they are not downloaded. By default, some jars have come. Okay, now listen. By default, some dependencies have come. By jar files, boss. By default, some dependencies are coming automatically. I deleted entire dependencies section. I deleted entire dependencies section, guys. Okay, some errors have come. Season that Maven dependencies folder itself gone, guys. Did you observe? Maven dependencies folder is gone now. Maven dependencies folder itself gone. Are you noticing it? What is this? Don't worry. You focus on that folder is disappeared, right? Okay, now what I do here? Come on. This jar I have taken. This starter I have taken. Come to this place, boss. Say paste. Save it. I just added one starter, right? I just added one starter. Again, Maven folder, Maven dependencies folder has come. Tell me, it is taking care of giving main jar files, dependent jar file, transitive jar files, and relevant jar file. Hikari, CP, SL4J, all these are relevant jar file. Spring Boot starter, Spring Boot, Spring Expression, Spring AOP, Spring Context, all these are main and dependent jar files. Spring JDBC, Spring Transaction, all these are main and dependent jar files. Hikari, CP, SL4J, Snack YML, all these are what? Relevant jar files or not? Okay, now you want to feel they are coming because of this only. I wantedly remove this one. I removed, boss. Check it out. That folder itself gone. At least now you trust me. Are you getting my point? Array starter is main jar file. Okay, that starter related again some main jar files will be there. That starter related again some main jar files will be there. Spring Boot starter JDBC. That starter itself one main jar file. But JDBC related main jar files, Spring related main jar files will be there. For those main jar file, dependent jar file. For those dependent, transitive dependent jar file, overall relevant jar files will be there. Are you getting my point there, guys? Array, how do you tell some jar is main or dependent jar? Simple. If classes of one jar are using classes of another jar, first jar is called main jar file, another jar files are called dependent jar files. Clear, boss? Yeah, don't worry about the practicals. Just feel it. Jars are coming. Am I collecting manually those jars? They're connected to internet. From internet, they are dynamically downloaded. Sir, they are downloaded very fastly, sir. Tell me, guys. Sir, downloaded very fastly, sir. Very simple. Array, I already used those jars in other projects. Na? They are already downloaded and stored into my local computer. That's why they are coming fast. That's why they are coming fastly. Right, boss? Sachin. Relevant jar files means mostly used jar files in real projects. Suppose, sir, it's giving log4j, but I am not using log4j. It is giving Hikari CP, I am not using Hikari CP. You are not following industry standards, boss. So you cannot blame relevant jar files in that situation. Industry says better to use them. If you don't use, blame yourself. Don't blame the Spring Boot framework. Someone is arguing with me. Sir, I'm so relevant jar file I don't use in the project. Unnecessarily size is increased in na boss. So many jars will come, guys. Most of them we don't use, boss. Adding jar files, how it is related to security, I did never understood. Yeah, listen, guys. Me when first time connect to internet, collects that file to your local computer. Next time onwards, you try to use from local computer. Okay, suppose you ask for new jar file. Again connects to internet, keeps in local computer. Okay, collects, brings to your project. Next time you ask the same jar file, it will collect from the local computer, right? Yeah, see guys, we can collect this starter info required for Maven or Gradle from mvnrepository.com or using Spring initializers or using STS plugin. Super. In Maven, this is the information we should add. For Gradle, this is the information we should have. Right, boss? Okay, guys. Can I believe you got some knowledge about the starters? Yeah, connection is required, guys. Internet connection is required. If someone uses Spring Boot starter, are you able to give left and right to him? Are you able to give left and right to him? Are a good speed is enough, ra babu. If you having less speed, they will be downloaded slowly. If you have a good speed, they will be downloaded fastly. Why are you behaving like a school-going kids? How much internet speed is required? If speed is less, what happens? They will be downloaded slowly. Guys, what's happening? Don't lose your fundamentals. People are asking to work with me when certain speed of the internet is required or not required. Whatever speed you are using daily, that is enough. If good speed, they download it fastly. Otherwise, they will be downloaded slow. Yes, boss. Now listen. You have one beautiful option, boss. There is no rule Spring Boot coding should be done in Java language only. You can do coding of Spring Boot programming in other Java-based languages, boss. In other JVM-based languages like Groovy, Scala. These are the other languages which are built on the top of JVM. So not only Java, we can work with other JVM-based languages to do coding in Spring Boot programming. This is another beautiful option we are having this. So that's why first I'm trying to introduce these JVM-based languages. Sir, why they are called JVM-based languages? Language syntax is different. Language compiler is different. But at the end, all these languages will generate the dot class file. To execute those dot class file, regular JVM is enough. To execute those dot class file, regular JVM is sufficient. Whatever JVM you are using for Java, same JVM is sufficient. That's the reason they are called JVM-based languages. Sorry, Python is not a JVM-based language. Python is not a JVM-based language because Python is looking for its own runtime environment. Python cannot be executed in JVM environment. Clear, boss? Only JVM languages can be used to do coding of Spring Boot applications. But still industry uses Java because all are aware of Java and day-to-day Java is also improving its features. You don't know, one thing what's happening nowadays? Certain features that are there in Java not directly came into Java, boss. They're inspired from Groovy language. They inspired from what? Scala language. They are inspired from Kotlin language also. Are you getting my point? What Java people are doing? Any new feature in Kotlin, they're adding to Java. Any new feature in Go language, they're adding to Java. Any new feature in Groovy, they're adding to Java. Tell me at the end, who is having more features, boss? Java. So do I need to learn JVM-based languages? No. Why? Java is having its own new features and it is also having other JVM-based languages features. It is inspiring from other JVM-based languages features and it is also having its own features. So overall, all features are there in Java, na boss. That's why you observe. Up to Java 8 version, they used to take 2 years time, 3 years time to release each version of Java. But from Java 8 onwards, you don't believe they are changing versions every 3 months, 6 months also. And if you observe very carefully, guys, between Java 9 and 10, 6 months gap is there. And certain release 1920, I think 3 months gap they have come. Why? They are getting a lot of pressure from other JVM based languages. Super. If you have a groovy.class file, if you use Java decompiler, you will get Java code. If you use a groovy decompiler, you will get groovy. It's called what decompiler we are using. And I will tell one small fantastic thing. Java 8 is known for functional programming, lambda expressions. Lambda expression. Java 8 is very popular feature is what? Lambda expressions, right? Let me say one thing. Lambda expressions are not originally given by Java, given by Scala. Initially, Java people ignored it, but people started liking Scala programming. The moment Java people observed, Scala is getting popularity day to day because of lambdas. Since Scala is also JVM based language, so they have taken that feature added to Java. With a little different syntax. Again, Scala gone down. Right? Like this, different feature from different JVM based languages. There are multiple JVM based languages: Java, Scala, Groovy, Kotlin, etc. All these languages have their own programming syntax and compilers, but they give common bytecode, guys. They give common bytecode. Understanding my statement, boss? Common bytecode dot class file, which can be executed in the common JRE JVM. Convinced, my dear? See this? .java compile dot class, .groovy compile dot class, .scala compile dot class, .kotlin compile dot class. But all these classes can be executed by using single JRE JVM. Are you understanding my statement, guys? I hope you are understanding my statement, guys. Yeah. Why I discussed this point, we can do coding for Spring Boot application in multiple JVM based languages like Java, Groovy, Kotlin. Since all are habituated with the Java is recommended. Clear, boss? Yes. Groovy, Scala, Kotlin, these are also platform independent because they are also JVM based languages. Come on, guys. Yeah, I think first point is covered. We can do Spring Boot programming in any JVM based languages. Yeah, Kotlin, Scala, these are not from Sun Microsystem, Oracle Corporation. They are from different vendors. Why Oracle will create their own competitors now? Oracle is not that much stupid company, na? Oracle only give Java, Oracle only give Scala, Oracle only gives Kotlin. Do you think Oracle is that much stupid company? No, boss. Yeah, JVM is open source, na, boss. JVM is open source. When Sun Microsystem created JRE, JVM, Java compiler, all of them are given as open source. And when Sun Microsystem is acquired by Oracle Corporation, okay, they strictly said it to Oracle Corporation, you are not going to make JRE, JVM commercial. You make commercial, we don't bother. But you should even continue free version. You know one thing, in Oracle, there are two versions of Java. Free version of free of cost Java is there, commercial Java is there. You know that? When you use commercial, both are open JDK and commercial JDK. Two JDKs are there. What's the use of commercial? They say we provide that support, this support. If any problem is there, we will come. Yeah, they try to give extra services. Company guarantee, nothing else. And in internal threats management also they do bit well. Threats management also they do bit well in commercial products. Okay. Super, guys. Tell me next one. Spring Boot and its module gives new annotations by combining multiple relevant annotations to reduce the burden on the programmers. Come on, guys. To reduce the burden. In Spring Boot, existing annotations are combined and new annotations are created. For example, they have given REST controller, combination of what? @controller plus response body. They have given Spring Boot application annotation, combination of what? Configuration, enable auto configuration, component scan. So we never use these three annotation. We always use this annotation. I hope you got it. Don't get into the annotations. What's the use of those annotations? You don't get into. They are combining relevant annotations and created new annotation. So that instead of using multiple individual annotations, you can start using single annotation. Is it not interesting, Rababu? Yeah, Maven is part of the course. Tools are part of the course. Other day I said, yeah, now listen this one. We can develop and test Spring Boot application without installing external database software, web server or application server softwares. Are you understanding my statement? Ramesh Naik, I already said in Spring Boot we don't use XML. Okay, when XML is not there, how do you give instructions? Through annotations. But what is the beauty of Spring Boot annotations? Individual annotations are combined and new annotations are created, right? So that burden on the programmer is reduced or not. Please, XML gone. Stop worrying about XML. Yeah, this is very important, guys. Listen. Your company says, we are providing very basic laptops. No memory for server installation. No memory for database installation. But you have to develop and test the project. Amini madam, please don't ask such kind of stupid questions. How many annotations are there? Please, madam. Please, no one can answer it. How many annotations means, how can I tell, madam? It depends upon our project. It depends upon our utilization, right? Suppose I said 200. Are you going to really count them? Don't remember, madam. Don't remember. See, day one of core Java, string class is new, main method is new, date class is new, but after on the utilization, we are habituated to those classes. Same thing here. Don't remember anything. Use them daily. Use them daily. They will become part of your programming life, right? Clear? No, don't do the stupidity of remembering the annotations, remembering the classes, remembering the code. Daily start using them. One day, okay. Mithun Kumar, Spring Boot is interesting. Maybe it is doing many things on its own. Maybe you are not liking it. You are habituated to stereotype coding, do everything on your own, right? Super, guys. Sahu, in exceptional cases, if you want, you can use XML. But maximum cases, we try to avoid the XML. Sir, what is alternate for avoiding XML? We deal with properties files, YML files, and number of things. Right, boss? Ramesh Naik, in Spring Basics videos, all topics are covered. Plugins are there. Listen, plugins are there to do additional facilities. When you add plugin, existing software facility will be increased. I'll tell one real life example to understand what is plugin. You have a normal TV, but you want to make it smart TV. Amazon Fire Stick, if you attach, If you attach Amazon Fire Stick, it will become smart TV na? Mr. Sakub, many times I said, if you want to continue in this course, you have to collect Spring Basics videos and you have to complete them in next 10-15 days, right? Companies, some companies use free JDK, some companies use commercial JDK. Okay, can you come back to the subject, boss? I'll take your queries at the end. Right, boss. Sandeep Kumar, latest version also supports XML. Right, boss. Tell me, boss. We can develop and test Spring Boot application without installing external database software, web server or application server software, because the Spring Boot application execution gives embedded database software, embedded servers based on the starters we add, right, boss? Based on the starters we add, we automatically get embedded database softwares. We automatically get embedded servers. What do you say, guys? Super. So that means there is no need of installing database software separately. This one. Application server is extension of web server. Don't worry much on it. Application server is extension of web server. Bigger in size, bigger in performance. All right, boss. Next, this is one limitation of Spring Boot, guys. Check it out. Converting existing Spring projects to Spring Boot projects is very difficult and not recommended. Why, sir? Why? Spring says, you give every instruction through XML or annotation, then only I will perform the activity. Spring Boot says, based on the starters you add, I do a lot of things in auto configuration. So while converting Spring project to Spring Boot, lot of problems will come now, boss. Why? Already you have done that work manually in Spring. In Spring Boot, by adding starter, it will come through auto configuration. One time manually, one time through auto configuration. Collision will come between manual work and auto configuration work. Come on. In Spring, we establish connection with the database manually. Come on, guys. In Spring Boot, that will happen internally. In Spring, we create connection pools manually or explicitly. In Spring Boot, that happens automatically. If we convert Spring project to Spring Boot, tell me what happens? Manual work with auto configuration work will collide or not? Manual work will collide with what? Auto configuration. We will get the clash among them. That's why Spring Boot is not good to convert existing Spring projects to Spring Boot. Spring Boot is always good for developing fresh projects, new projects, not the migration projects of Spring. Not the migration projects of Spring. So if I present technically, boss, Spring Boot is good for greenfield projects, not good for brownfield projects. What do you mean by greenfield? New, fresh, totally new. Brownfield, enhancing the existing one, converting the existing one, adding the new things to the existing one. That is called brownfield. So Spring Boot is good for greenfield projects. Spring Boot is not good for brownfield projects. I'll tell one example, boss. I will tell one example. Hyderabad is greenfield city or brownfield city? Hyderabad is greenfield city or brownfield city? Brownfield city. Why? Why it is brownfield city, guys? Because it's there, that city is there from so many years, boss. Every day we are adding the new facilities to the city, right? Super. Next, Naya Raipur. Naya Raipur is a brownfield city or greenfield city? Greenfield. That is totally created from the scratch. Okay, next. Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh is a greenfield city or brownfield city? Sorry, not Chhattisgarh, sorry. Chandigarh. Sorry, mistake. Chandigarh. Kushmital, you are from Raipura. Enjoy the Raipur. Chandigarh is a greenfield city. Maybe you are not aware of it. It is a greenfield city. It's a freshly created one. Next. Okay, AP capital Amaravati. That's a new government is not agreeing that. But AP capital Amaravati is a brownfield city or greenfield city? It's a greenfield. But because of politics, it is not enhancing, but it is created from scratch level. Right. I think near Ahmedabad, Vadodara. Delhi is brownfield, guys. Delhi is brownfield. Okay. Near Ahmedabad, Vadodara, I think one new city that Modi is building, boss. No, one city is not Surat, boss. What is the city name? One city is Dolara. Dolara. Right. Dolara is what city, boss? Dolara is what city? Not just a greenfield city. It is going to be India's smart city, boss. India's first smart city. Wonders are going to happen. Wonders are going to happen in that city, boss. Dholera is the India's greenfield city come smart city also. Okay, guys, tomorrow. So use Spring Boot for new projects, greenfield projects. Come on. Comes under which states are Gujarat, na boss? Not for migration project, not for brownfield projects. Clear, boss? Ladakh is not a city, boss. Ladakh is an area name, right? Okay, boss. Hyderabad is brownfield capital. Chandigarh is greenfield capital, right, boss? Ladakh is a newly formed state, that is newly formed area. Ranchi, Kolkata, Chennai, all these are what? Even Bangalore, all these are brownfield cities only. Kashmir also brown. Kashmir is a state now, boss. Yeah. Let me share the material. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Day to day, you're increasing, your interest is increasing or not? Enjoying the sessions, boss? Super, guys. How these annotations are created? All these annotations are internally interfaces, boss. And implementations are given by framework people. Why IT field is down nowadays? Who said it's down? It's not down. It's not down. Especially Java domain is not down, boss. Java domain is not down. Super, guys. Yes, I'm preparing background for coding, boss. Tomorrow I'm going to have coding background. I'm going to introduce coding background tomorrow. So far introduction, whatever introduction is over. Super, guys. Fine. I'm working in data analyst for last 3 years. Can I switch to Java developer? You can join, but you have to start with core Java, boss. You have to start with core Java, right? Yeah. Ankarao, this is the group. Tomorrow is not holiday. Tomorrow is working day for us. Okay. Tomorrow is working day for us. 617 is your batch code. Spring Boot core. Okay. DSA is required only for those people who are targeting to get into top MNCs like Google, Oracle, DESHA kind of thing. For normal companies, not required. For normal and regular companies, not required. Yeah. I don't know about domain. There is no need of learning Hibernate separately. While teaching Spring Data JPA module, we learn Hibernate. Okay, guys. Seshishekar, mail me. Samar Pratap Singh, mail me. Aditya Patil. Okay, Aditya Patil. For freshers also openings are there. Contact job placement cell in Naresh IT once. Please contact job placement cell in Naresh IT once. But along with the technical subject, try to improve soft skills. Then only fresher will succeed in getting job. Soft skills should be improved. Right. Kushit Barbaya, next evening batch of Spring Boot and MicroService. Takes 2-3 months time, guys. So better to plan this batch. Notes and materials of basics of Spring Boot. Iswar Kumari, once batch is confirmed, I will share the notes with you. Don't worry. Amit Kumar, I think admin might have replied this answer. Admin might have replied this answer, right? Manish Kumar, recordings only for 6 months because after 6 months also, if you use old videos, people may think that we are not updated. That's why. Our content is not updated. That's the reason. Okay, Swarna Savitri. My FB account name is different from my name. Does it have same? No, I will accept everyone request, no problem. Naresh Shetty providing placement. Yes, we have placement assistant cell. Please give interview question for 2 years Java experience. Subham, your thought itself wrong, you know. Interviewer never comes to interview cabin with ready-made question paper. Your first question answer is based for second question. Second question answer based for third question, right? Miss Saqib, you might have sent your email to wrong account. Check once. If I got the email, I might have replied by this time. If not, I will reply after the class. OnePlus, whatever recordings you are getting, that is my recordings only. Krushi Bhatia, okay, in the middle of the course, I will talk about my journey and my startup. Don't worry about it. Prakash Gund, today I will reply. Pavan Kumar, you can show gap as experience. If you don't want to have soft skills, go for gap as experience. For gap as experience, no soft skills are required. Iswar Kumar Vellam, I will provide the notes. Don't worry. I will provide the notes. Notes is with me. When should I approach? Before 6 months of your job trials, better to approach consultancy. Can we get your design pattern paid video recording? Manish Kumar, I need to check whether they have maintained or not. OnePlus, previous batch recording videos are which was taught by you. OnePlus, whatever videos you are getting, that is also my batch, my recordings only. Can I apply for internship in your startup through proper channel? Kushi Mittal, when we have requirement, I will let you know. Madam, if you have a subject and if you are able to complete the given task, they don't bother about your fake experience. If you are failing to complete the task, then they bother about a number of things. Right? Sushant Rai, my core and Spring completed. Can I switch to experience level? Yeah, if you have a gap, you can definitely go for it. Rajeshwari madam, I'm a native Android developer, wants to move to Java-based web development. Will I be able to match up markup standards and experienced people? Definitely, madam. With this course knowledge, we can show 4 to 5 years gap as experience. Right. Kushal Mittal, as of now, we are not entertaining internships, but I will think on it. Definitely, I will think on it. Thank you, guys. Have a nice time. If I miss any one question, please mail me. I will reply through mail. OnePlus, Spring Boot and microservice previous batch recording videos are available, which was taught by you. Not available, guys, and we don't sell the videos like that. Please. We basically encourage to attend live classes. Thank you.